We're going to follow a story that starts with a bit of a social media stir and takes us all the way back to the royal kitchens of 19th century Siam.
Okay, so let's dive right in. The dish at the center of all this is Khao Khluk Kapi. Thai shrimp paste fried rice. And if you've ever had it, you know it's not just food, right? It's a total experience. This incredible symphony of sweet, sour, salty, and spicy all hitting you at once. It's amazing. So this is where things get complicated. Not too long ago, a dish that looked a lot like it popped up at Cambodian Restaurant Week in California. And as you can imagine, it kicked off a huge conversation online about where this dish really comes from. This whole modern-day mix-up is the perfect reason we're digging into the real story today. All right, a dish of debate. Now, just to be clear, we're not here to start arguments. We're here to follow the evidence, to trace the history, starting with what kicked this all off.
So the restaurant called their version Khao Khluk and described it as fried rice with shrimp paste and caramelized pork. Sounds familiar, right? And listen, this really struck a chord with a lot of people. It brought up these big questions about, cultural ownership and food history. It got everyone talking, and that's exactly why we're going to go look at the actual historical record.
Okay, the story of Kapi, a shared foundation. Before we can even talk about the final dish, we absolutely have to understand the star of the show, Kapi. That's fermented shrimp paste.
And here's the thing you've got to get right away. Using shrimp paste isn't exclusive to any one country. Think of it like a shared regional treasure. It's a foundational flavor that you'll find all across Southeast Asia. It's part of a shared culinary heritage.
Now this is where the story starts to take shape in Thailand. We've got historical records showing that way back in the early 1800s, the Mon people migrated into central Siam, and they brought their incredible food traditions with them, including their expert ways of making and using kapi. This is a classic example of cultural exchange laying the groundwork for something new.
A king's favorite meal, the royal record. Okay, now we are getting to the absolute core of this, the smoking gun, if you will. We're talking about the very first written record of this dish as we know it, in its complete form.
And for that, our story turns to this man, King Chulalongkorn, also known as Rama V. He reigned over Siam from 1868 to 1910. He's famous for modernizing the country, but what's key for us is that he was also a huge foodie, and he happened to leave behind some incredibly important clues in his personal letters.
This is where the story gets really personal and honestly quite touching. The recipe he wrote about came from this woman, Princess Sudaratana. After the king's mother died, she became his guardian. He called her Sedetyai, which means royal grandmother, and it turns out she was an absolute master of royal cuisine.
And boom, here it is, the primary source, a quote from King Rama V's own letters around 1889. He writes, "The Khao Khluk Kapi that grandmother prepares is so perfectly balanced. The sweet pork, shredded omelet, sour mango, red onions, everything in harmony." This is the definitive evidence. It's the oldest known official record of the complete dish with all the specific components we know today.
So what is it about the dish the king was describing that makes it so uniquely Thai? Well, it all boils down to a core philosophy, what you could call the dish's culinary DNA.
Just look at this breakdown. This is where the magic happens. You've got salty from the shrimp paste itself, you get sweet from that caramelized pork, sour from shredded green mango, spicy from fresh chilies, and then that rich, savory umami flavor from dried shrimp and the shredded omelet. This incredible balance of 5 distinct tastes, that is the absolute signature of royal Thai cuisine. It's genius.
And it's not just about the taste, it's about the experience. This is another huge difference. In the royal Thai style, all the side dishes are served separately. It's interactive. You get to mix and match to build your own perfect bite every single time. It's not just about convenience, it's about a certain refinement and sophistication that really came out of the royal court. Okay, evidence versus social media. Let's lay this all out on a timeline so you can see the story clearly.
When you look at it this way, the contrast is, well, it's pretty stark, isn't it? In the early 1800s, we see the Mon bringing kapi traditions to Siam. Then, in 1889, we have a solid, written account from King Rama V describing the complete dish. And then, you jump forward more than a century, to 2019, and that's when you start seeing these claims pop up all over social media. It's a very, very recent development.
So, credit where credit's due. What's the big takeaway from all this? Look, the goal here isn't to build walls around our food. It's about appreciating the real, sometimes complicated history, and just giving credit where it's actually due.
So let's break it down. First, yes, using shrimp paste is absolutely a shared regional thing. No one's debating that. But the first documented evidence of Khao Khluk Kapi as this complete, refined dish, that comes from the Thai royal court in the late 19th century. And the dish's unique identity is really defined by that Thai philosophy of balancing 5 tastes and the elegant way of serving it. It really shows us how we can celebrate both shared influences and unique cultural innovations. And you know, all of this leaves us with a bigger question to chew on. As food travels across borders, which is an amazing thing, how do we get better at honoring both those shared roots and the unique, specific stories behind every single dish? It's definitely something for all of us food lovers to think about. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Okay, I want you to forget everything you think you know about fried rice. Seriously, this is Khao Khluk Kapi. A dish so complex, so incredibly deep in flavor, that it has literally been at the center of a historical debate. So today, we're not just cooking. Oh no, we are unlocking a royal Thai secret.
So let's dive into our culinary investigation, shall we? First, we're going to unpack why this dish has such a priceless reputation. Then, we'll break down the key evidence, the sweet pork, that umami foundation, and the whole symphony of toppings. After that, we'll trace its royal history, and finally, we'll assemble the perfect, balanced bite.
First up, a priceless plate. You know, in Thailand, this dish is seen as nothing short of a national treasure. But what on earth makes the plate of rice worth millions? Well, it's not the ingredients themselves. It's the incredible history and the pure artistry that's required to create it.
Now, let's talk about that title. It's not just clickbait, I promise. While there isn't a literal $37 million plate of rice you can go out and buy, this number, it represents its immense cultural value. You could call it the price of heritage. It's a number that signifies a treasure so protected, its very ownership has been fiercely debated.
So maybe its true worth isn't found in dollars at all, but in its identity as a piece of living, breathing history? To find the answer to that, we have to examine the evidence. And we're going to start with the first, absolutely crucial exhibit.
All right, let's get to our first clue, the sweet pork secret. Now, this is not just some topping you throw in at the end. This is Exhibit A in the case for this dish's complexity. It's known as muwan, and it is the essential sweet and savory counterpoint to absolutely everything else on the plate.
The magic here is all in the technique. It starts by carefully, and I mean carefully, caramelizing palm sugar until it's this dark, fragrant amber color. Then you saute your aromatics, you sear the pork, and it all just simmers together until you have this unbelievably tender pork that's coated in a sticky, glossy glaze. This specific balance, well, it's basically Thai culinary DNA. It's designed to perfectly counter all the salty and sour flavors that are about to come.
Okay, now for the real heart of the dish. The secret, the absolute key to a transcendent Khao Khluk Kapi, lies in properly treating its namesake ingredient, kapi, which is Thai shrimp paste.
So what is kapi? Well, it's this pungent, super salty condiment made from fermented shrimp. And if you taste it raw, whoa, it can be pretty harsh. But, and this is a big but, when you cook it correctly, it just blossoms into this incredibly aromatic and savory umami base. The best chefs, they seek out a high-quality paste made from KCC Sui Tam Dom, that's black-eyed krill, which is prized for its amazing texture and flavor.
And this right here, this shows the transformation perfectly. When you apply heat, it mellows out all those sharp, pungent notes through something called the Maillard reaction. It turns them aromatic, savory, even nutty. It's a complete metamorphosis from a kind of one-dimensional ingredient into a base of profound umami depth.
Now, chefs use 2 main techniques to get this done. Blooming is when you fry the paste in oil with aromatics like garlic and shallots. The other method is roasting, where the paste is wrapped in banana leaves and gently heated on a dry pan. You know, 2 different paths, but they both have the exact same goal, to wake up all those hidden, complex flavors of the kapis.
Once that kapime base is fragrant and ready, it's time for the rice. And on this point, every single source, every chef, they all agree on one non-negotiable rule. You have to use cold, day-old jasmine rice. The starches have firmed up overnight, and that's what keeps the grains separate and prevents your final dish from becoming, a mushy mess. And now for Exhibit B in the case for this dish's unique identity, the symphony of toppings. And let me be clear, these are not just garnishes. No way. They are crucial, carefully prepared components that testify to this dish's sophisticated, and I mean sophisticated origins.
What's so fascinating here is how this maps out an intentional architecture of flavor. Yeah, you've got the rich sweetness of the muon, but look closer. The sour green mango? It isn't just any mango. It's a specific, unripe variety julienned into these tiny, fine matchsticks for a sharp, acidic crunch. The egg isn't scrambled. It's cooked into a paper-thin crepe and then sliced into these delicate little ribbons. Every single component, from the salty, crispy dried shrimp to the pungent shallots, is a separate, meticulous preparation. Nothing here is random.
So this begs the question, where did this incredibly detailed, perfectly balanced dish come from? Well, this is where our investigation pivots from the kitchen straight into the history books. While shrimp paste is a beloved ingredient all throughout Southeast Asia, historical records point to a very specific origin for this highly refined version. Documents trace this exact, multi-component recipe of Khao Khluk Kapi directly to the Thai royal court during the reign of King Rama V in the late 19th century.
And that's the key. The complexity is the clue. The slow-glazed pork, the bloomed kapi, the julienned mango, those paper-thin egg ribbons. Come on, this is not food of convenience. This is the work of a professional kitchen. It's a testament to the artistry of the royal court. And that is where that priceless $37 million value comes from. It's a valuation of time, of skill, of a totally unique culinary identity.
All right, let's move to the grand finale. Let's see how all of this evidence comes together on the plate for the final summation and the verdict.
The modern plating is a work of art in itself. You create this central mound of fragrant shrimp paste rice. Then, each topping is artfully arranged in its own distinct pile, showcasing the color and texture of every single piece of evidence, before they're all combined by you for that final verdict. And listen, there is one and only one rule for eating it properly. You must mix it all together. The magic of Khao Khluk Kapi isn't found in any single ingredient. It's in the absolute explosion of flavor and texture that happens when they all combine in one perfect, verdict-delivering spoonful.
And this is the verdict. That perfect bite delivers a complete sensory experience. It's a symphony of the 5 core Thai flavors playing in perfect harmony. Salty from the kapi, sweet from the pork, sour from the mango and lime, a kick of spicy from the chilies, and that deep, satisfying umami that just ties it all together.
Which brings us right back to our initial question, and that $37 million price tag. After breaking down its complex parts and tracing its royal lineage, it's pretty clear the value of this dish can't be held in a bank. It proves that a recipe can be a historical document, a work of art, and a powerful declaration of cultural identity, all served up on a single, priceless plate.